Well, when it comes to our aging loved ones, we do just about anything to keep them comfortable for their end of life, right? But how do we do that? Maybe when I say the word hospice, you think, no, that feels like giving up. Well, turns out that is not the case. I sat down with the daughter of a woman named Nellie and the team that took care of her at Talbot Hospice in Easton before she left this earth, and all of them were excited to tell me about this special place and the numerous services it provides. It was 6 years ago when Patty Plaskin first opened her home to her mother, Nellie. Nellie was developing dementia and Parkinson's disease and couldn't be on her own. Her daughter had the heart to help, but not the expertise.
I didn't feel competent to take care of my mother. I didn't know if I was hurting her. She wasn't really communicating that clearly anymore.
The decision to put her mother in hospice was difficult, but necessary.
That wasn't easy. You know, I mean, my mom knew she was going somewhere. She wasn't really sure, you know, everything that was going on, and I was trying to explain it to her.
That somewhere wasn't just anywhere. Nellie lived her last days at Talbot Hospice in Easton. Patty picked the place, and it proved to be perfect.
She got fantastic care, and I got really comfortable with everybody that was taking care of my mother. So I found I got to be a daughter again, instead of the care planner and the nurse's aide and the screener and you know, all those other things that I was trying to do at home. And it was really nice for me to have a relationship with her, particularly at that point, because it was difficult to have a relationship. She really didn't talk much. So
Ernest Beasley is a CNA and CMT. He knew Nellie well.
I looked forward to coming here every day knowing that Nellie was here. And every day that before I would even, after clocking in, and you know, I would go from room to room, she'd be the first room I'd stop in and say, where's my Nellie at?
Ernest is part of an integral team at Talbot Hospice that cares for patients like Nellie. Susan Howard Owens is a social worker on staff.
It's so wonderful to know that we were able to help a patient take their last breath with peace and comfort, and that we were able to provide comfort to their families along the way.
Eugenie Drayton is the chaplain who steps up for patients' end-of-life spiritual needs. She's there without an agenda, just a desire to serve.
We're there to meet them where they are. It's more about what they believe and not what we believe.
But you were very helpful to me because I had the religious questions. Yes. You know, yes. I wondered, like, you know, why was my mom here so long? She you know, because of her Parkinson's, there were a lot of things she couldn't do, and then she couldn't say. It was hard to come sometimes to visit her because, you know, you just wonder how much more, and not that she was suffering, but she just wasn't the same person. Right. And I leaned on all of you for that. Sorry. I leaned on all of you for that because you saw it, you know, and you knew my mom as a patient. You didn't know her as I knew her. So you accepted her for what she, you know, what she came with. Yeah. And, you know, I'm coming with this filter like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is my mother, you know, and I'm so sad about it because she's so different. But you helped me say, you know, this is natural and this is normal.
This team is used to families leaning on them, perhaps even more than the patients themselves. They're happy to be a steady shoulder.
Sometimes our families are the ones more in need than our patients because they're struggling with this loss. And so, yeah, we wrap people in as much support as we can.
They hold people like Patty tight.
Yeah, and it was a very long journey. A dementia process can go on for years, and it's a very long goodbye. One of the things that that you and I had talked about many times was self-care for you, to take a break and to have that trust with us that you knew that she was okay because we were taking care of her. Just for the basics, you know, taking time to rest and tending to other things in your life because it's tough. And we're a team. It's all of us, and we're 24/7. For one person to work through this by themselves at home, even with supportive caregivers, it was hard.
Patty says when she let go of that control, her load was greatly lightened.
It was a relief. I think it was more of a relief. I thought I'd feel guilty. And I think a lot of the patients that I work with, the families are like afraid if they make that referral too soon, they're going to feel like they're giving up on the person, or I don't know, there's maybe some fear whether it'd be well taken care of. So if anybody gets anything out of my story, I hope they get that it's a wonderful release, and you're not really giving up on that person at all. You're getting more people to help.
Now, when Patty speaks of the families she works with, she's referring to her profession as a social worker. Not only do folks like Patty get to be a daughter again, as she mentioned, she was also able to truly trust that her mother was not only cared for, but loved. And after her mother passed away, the support for her was still there. At Talbot Hospice, the bond between patient and caretaker forms fast and is forever.
Loved it, Nellie. And at times, Nellie would tell us, you know, that she loved us as well. I remember the day that she told me that she loved me. It was, you know, it was out of nowhere, and I was like, and, you know, I had to, you know, look back at her, and you know, yeah, I mean, because I probably had been caring for about a month or so, right? And I walked up to her, and I said, "What did you say, Miss Nellie?" And she said, she took her time, you know, "I love you." And she looked at me, and I said, "Oh." And I said, "I love you too, Miss Nellie."
And when she took her final breath, Ernest and the rest of this team felt it.
And I like to let Patty know your mom is going to be greatly missed. Greatly, telling you. But she'll always be in my heart, you know. She's part of me now.
There's no question Nellie and many other patients who come through Talbot Hospice have impacted many throughout their lives, and this is a time to honor that.
The end of life is just as important as any other part of life. You know, we look at celebrating births, we look at celebrating weddings, and the end of life is that final finale, a time to, you know, reminisce on all the good that you've accomplished in life, all of the people that you've touched. And even as you are dependent, you can see how much those people still touch us.
And when those sweet souls do pass on, the care here isn't complete. Talbot Hospice offers bereavement services for 13 months afterwards. For many loved ones, this is crucial.
All these people around you, and then when the person dies, all of that goes away. And even the celebration, you know, people have kind of said what they want to say, and their lives go on. So it's really nice to have the bereavement support.
That happens through one-on-one counseling and support groups, which can be like the gift that keeps on giving.
People bond to each other, and then they're able to develop maybe even lifelong relationships with one another to continue to support each other. So that's a really nice program, because sometimes you can't just close the door and walk away. You need help afterwards.
After her mother's passing 3 months ago, Patty received helpful bereavement material in the mail, which she greatly appreciates. Of course, not as much as the relationships she developed with those who tended to her mother.
We became friends.
I asked her friends, Susan, Ernest, and Eugenie, why Talbot Hospice?
We're small, but we're mighty. And it enables us to know our patients very well. And we have the most wonderful team of employees and coworkers. And the bond that you feel here is second to none.
It's just the atmosphere, you know. It's something about Easton that just draws you here.
It's where I'm supposed to be, to work with the caliber of people that we have on the team. And the history behind it, the 40 years of history, is just, I feel honored to be part of this. I feel honored to meet the patients and the families that I do. So for me, it's a humbling experience.
Humbling for staff, heartwarming for patients' loved ones.
The care is just, it's unexplainable. I mean, the place is clean, it's neat, it's beautiful, the people care. Things are state of the art. I mean, and my brothers don't live in the area, so they would come visit, and they just couldn't believe what we had here in Talbot County.
Talbot Hospice is also dedicated to recognizing patients who served our country. They have a wall dedicated to veterans, and they honor them with special recognition visits. And for any more information on this wonderful place, all you have to do is head to DelmarvaLife.com.